Hey traders, hi, Alexis here for your regular crypto lab every Thursday, featured by Trading Analysis. As usual, we're going to go a little bit over a macro themes, what drives the liquidity on surface, and of course then we're going to go for a technical picture on cryptos. You can leave your comments and chart requests in the comment box. So let's start. Let's see what's going on and what's happening in the Fed CME tool. So we have a next Fed meeting on the 3rd of May. Currently, this is of course changing constantly. So we have 46.2% that Fed is going to stay at 475 to 5% and 53.8% probability that we are going to go another 25 basis points. Of course, we have the next CPI data on 12th of April, and that will be one of the crucial data we are waiting. Personally, I think this will go further lower. Last reading was at 6%. I think we're going to get close to 5.5. And we have a PCE at Friday, I think, which is the favorite measurement of Fed. So it is going to be very important how that number comes up. In the meantime, we have, I think, GDP today or tomorrow. I don't think that will be so important as the PCE and the CPI in the next couple of weeks, 2 weeks. We are at 30th of March, so 2 weeks more to CPI. So I think this will stay in this 46.2, 53.8, back and forth. If we go on the 14th of July, we see also that we are seeing 1.5, that the Fed is going to decrease rates, 46.5, it's going to stay 52.1, it's going to move 25 basis points. But as you go towards the end of the year, you will see that this Fed tool is actually predicting that the Fed is going to start lowering the rates as we go from 20th of September, 1st of November and 13th of December. On December, we already see that probability is that for now highest that we are around 4.5 to 525. So we will see. This data changes constantly and we like to look at it just to feel what the market thinks. So if we look the charts on the US 10-year yields, we are still moving in this sideways consolidation, which we usually think as a potential triangle or some type of a complex ABC, XABC, maybe a little bit lower for this fourth wave. So maybe a little bit more of a sideways movement, one more push up, and then we think the big pause in rates is going to come because the first 5-wave sequence from the COVID low will actually came to its end. And from there, we think that there is a window of 1 or 2 years that the risk assets, which actually cryptos are, is gonna have a movement on the upside, and of course stocks and the other risk-on assets in the spectrum. So let's see what's going on in Europe for a touch. So basically the same picture. European rates on the futures, as I'm looking this couple of days, are anchoring around 3 to 3.5, which is clearly depicting this chart. So we are moving in a sideways manner, which also can actually finish as a potential triangle. We go a touch on the upside and then we roll for a sizable pullback in rates, which is of course going to give from that side also a push on the risk on assets on the upside. So we do think that we are in the final consolidation before we see another push on the upside and then a sizable reversal down, which will actually match on the 2024 Bitcoin halving. And we think that the uptrend has a good chance to continue. Of course, we are still in its early stages, but looking this total crypto market cap, we see that first 5 waves from the upside are potentially done. A nice pullback towards this trend line support, and then we are moving upside in the impulsive manner. Equality of these two legs is 1.2 8 trillion. So it is very important for the technical picture, as we look this from the Elliott Wave perspective, that we actually cross this equality and we start pushing further on the upside, because that will give us an indication that the uptrend will likely continue further, probably to new highs. So this is a very important point on the total crypto market cap. In the Bitcoin chart is around 32 to 35K. Is this done? This consolidation has been very troublesome. If you go on a smaller time frame, you can label it in a couple of kind of an instances. So do we have a 5 waves up here? Yes, I think we do. Potentially we are in some type of a correction. Maybe we are starting new uptrend with this pullback, so we will see. But this hesitation at these levels here gives us a pretty good feel that market is not willing to sell. And this consolidation, which is also very small compared to this one, is also telling us that the market is more likely tilted to the upside than to the downside. So pretty nice hold here, as you can see. Very small corrections, which is actually a characteristics of a lesser degree wave 2s. And most likely, we will see, of course, the developments, but most likely we might see either this complicated a little bit further, or we are starting already wave 1, pullback in a wave 2, and we continue on the upside. So total crypto market cap looks very nice for now. It is very important we cross these levels, because that will give us an opening for a potential further expansion on the upside, and continuation of this uptrend potentially to new highs. So we will see. We definitely count this as a flat currently, and then we are giving it room to actually show us that potential higher developments actually can occur. In a sense, we stop here. In a case, we stop here and we roll over impulsively. We will have to count this as an ABC or some type of a flat and a continuation down. But I think with the current developments that we see on stocks, potentially we might see a further expansion on the upside. So let me show you the wave count that we have on stocks. So Trading Analysis has a pretty big following and members in a stock service, which I also cover. So I'm going to show you what we look on the NDX, which is one of the kind of a correlated market with the cryptos, and we do look for more on the upside. So we do look this as a potential expansion in this leading diagonal on the upside, and then a pullback and continuation on the upside, which kind of agrees with our overall picture that the move up in rates will actually produce this wave 2 on the downside, and then when the rates goes in a sizable pause, we will see a further expansion of the Nasdaq higher. Of course, we are still not out of the woods. According to the rules of the leading diagonals, we have to have some relation between the waves. Since the wave 3 is larger than wave 1, we need wave 5 to come at least to equality to wave 5, to wave 3, which is around 14,117 on Nasdaq. So we look this to expect further higher before we see some correction and then a continuation on the upside. So picture on the Nasdaq looks promising. It's still not out of the woods, and the S&P is still troubling to complete this wave 1. Pretty much sideways pattern. We had a lot of back and forth adjusting the wave counts and try to figure out what the market will do next. But for now, we have a kind of a nice signs breakout of this trend line to possible continuation higher, and market needs to give us a heads up and continue working towards this 4,200, 4,300, which will be enough to construct some type of a potential leading diagonal, which will match the Nasdaq, and actually a three-way pullback and then continuation on the upside. So this is our bullish wave count. I'm not going to go into a bearish ones because they're still also very viable. Let me stay on this one because I'm still going to stay bullish. on cryptos. The only thing what we also look is SMH, which is also a subsector of technology, and we do look this to continue higher, and we need this to continue higher further towards these targets, because it will not be very handy if the SMH starts to roll over, because they're very correlated with cryptos. Also, a leading diagonal is possible here as well. This will be 1, 2, up in 3, 4, and 5. But in that case, this expansion needs to be a little bit larger on the upside, so we can pair it up with Nasdaq, look for a small pullback, and then a continuation on the upside. So there is also a couple of stocks we look which are on the side correlated with cryptos. They're kind of looking nice, like Mara. So Mara is one of the stocks that we track, which is connected with cryptos. So we have a relatively nice impulsive move in a leading diagonal here, so potentially ABC down and continuation on the upside. So nice follow through in 5 waves, complex pullback for a second wave too, which looks promising for the continuation on the upside. We also have, we are tracking also Riot, which is also exhibiting some impulsive price action from low. So we are tracking this from all sides, looking the correlations and stocks connected with cryptos to try to figure out will this new uptrend will have a sustainability and the strength to continue further higher. So let me go into the Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin chart is meeting a resistance around 28. A couple of very important points here. So usually when we look for the relation of the waves between themselves, we usually look first for equality. So equality comes at 32, 33K. And as I said, on a total crypto market cap, it is very important we go in some form after a possible small pullback and continue further on the upside. So I got a lot of question in regards of this wave 2 of the primary degree, which will be this one, and the wave 2 of a secondary degree, which is this one. How they relate. So usually wave 2s on a secondary expansion are much smaller than the wave 2s preceding them. So that's very important. So I do not expect some sizable corrections here. The farthest I will go, it's if we drop down from here, will be around 25, 24, and then continuation on the upside. So it's very important what we are going to see and what the Bitcoin will do here at these levels, 32 to 33. If we pass this after some correction and start moving further on the upside, we will have a solid evidence that the new uptrend is starting, and that potentially we're going to develop in the next year, year and a half, and meet some of the upper targets that we are looking here. So pretty nice development. If I drop down to a smaller time frame, we can see that currently this is a pretty impulsive move on the upside. We didn't have an overlap, so we can easily go 1, 2, up in 3, 4, and potentially now wave 5, small pullback and a continuation on the upside. So Bitcoin is going good. This is the impulsive development here from this pullback. This pullback was pretty messy, and sometimes you cannot know what is going on until its end. So this might be some type of a flat in A, up in B, and down in C. You don't have 5 waves, so you have to label this as a WXY actually. So it will be a 3 waves down in W, push up in 3 waves in X, and 3 waves down in Y wave. And then from there, you will see that we have a nice separation between these 2 corrections, which is ongoing now. So we have impulsive developments on the upside. So we are in some type of a consolidation in a 4th wave. Maybe this is some type of a ABC flat. Maybe we are done. A small pullback and then continuation to new highs in a Bitcoin. I'm observing this pretty constantly in a case to of course, set up our potential longs entries, which we will hold with our members. And Bitcoin is also giving us reason to believe that this is a first impulsive leg for a potential continuation on the upside. So Ethereum, in my opinion, it's more developed. First, because of the Ethereum Bitcoin wave count, which is actually meeting our target now. So we are looking this as a 5 waves up, pullback in a wave 2, and a continuation up. It's very important what this Ethereum Bitcoin chart will do for this chart, because any development higher in 5 waves and a pullback will give us a higher probability that this wave count will work. And on the higher time frame, you see weekly level, the RSI comes as a very handy 33 to 38 levels, which actually kind of a setup for a continuation on the upside towards this target. So we think still that Ethereum will outperform Bitcoin on the next move up or move down. Both of them can happen, and then Ethereum will either fall less, or in this case will go more on the upside, because as you can see clearly, for now this chart is expressing Ethereum strength, potential Ethereum strength over Bitcoin. I have one chart of the crosses which also shows this, and Matic is something which is also developing a nice strength over the Bitcoin. So let me just show you Matic Bitcoin, which I really like. The larger time frame wave count also shows the same. So I like Matic chart because it resembles Ethereum, and I think it's going to go and start moving higher in a much faster pace than a Bitcoin. So if you look this as a 1, pullback down in 2, we didn't cross these lows, so we didn't see a wave count invalidation here, and correction was pretty deep. We can even state that this is some type of a flat, because when you have these 3-3-5 patterns, usually they're gonna test this 100% or 88% retracement levels, which is a pretty deep correction, and then we have a nice, very vertical expansion on the upside, which is usually a character of the wave 3 development. So we have a move up, a very long consolidation, and then explosion on the upside, which is going to give you a wave 3 on the upside, and then we pair this wave 4 with this wave 2, as you can see here, and from there we have an impulsive development and now pullback in a wave 2, which also kind of rings the bell that potentially from very soon I have a little bit more on the downside to be more kind of a specific target here at 0.00034. Also in a flat, so this will be a 335, and then from there, if Matic starts to move rapidly on the upside, you will see Matic outperforms Bitcoin and actually goes up for a new target. So in my opinion, Matic and Ether is something that it's going to outperform Bitcoin if we see the new movement on the upside. Of course, this still needs to be proven on the smaller time frame with the impulsive move on the upside. So if you see from these targets 5 waves up and a pullback, that will be a good setup, which will increase probability that this will be a new upside, pretty powerful run of Matic over Bitcoin to higher levels. Let me show you Ethereum quickly. So I've said about Ethereum a couple of times that I'm pretty bullish on Ethereum. Why? Because if we look this kind of a volatility which was pretty expansionary in the beginning and then very subdued, as you can see. So this is a big move on the downside that we experienced, and then these moves became less and less. As you can see, I've seen some wave counts which are depicting this as a triangle. It's still possible. We need to cross above these levels to actually nullify the triangle, and that is very close, and I think Ethereum will do this. So looking this couple of charts, I have the wave count, which is pretty bullish. I'm not keen to do this many times, because these setups will usually, I'm not going to be that optimistic, but this setup, I think it's really is setting us for something higher on Ethereum. We crossed this very substantial trend line, as you can see here, which goes from these highs, and it's a very, very strong resistance levels. As you can see here, we dropped pretty significantly, touching this line also here and from start here. So this trend line has been a nice resistance level for Ether, and once we cross it, we now start to consolidate here, which is a good sign. Always when you see a larger breakout of these important levels and you see this type of a consolidation, that is actually pretty nice sign that market is not willing to sell, and that most likely we're going to continue further on the upside, and that is also our Ethereum Bitcoin chart is actually announcing. So let's see. I have this as a 1-2-1-2, and then a continuation further on the upside. This should accelerate soon. So if we expect wave 3, of the wave 3 on the upside, we should see a pretty large expansion on the upside very soon. So if we go on a smaller time frame, we see basically here that market is still unwilling to sell Ether after this, actually to balance this move on the upside. So wherever you see a hesitation, that market is unwilling to actually fully balance this move on the upside, which was impulsive in nature, you actually have some clues what the market thinks and what we might do next. Okay, so if we count this as an impulsive development, which is pretty straightforward, up 1-2, very nice vertical move up in wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5, and then we have a very choppy, very very hard to discern correction here, and then we have an impulsive uprise. Even if we go down from here, I will still hold this as a very bullish development, because the market is unwilling to actually balance fully this move, and I will consider this to be just a correction before the continuation on the upside. So of course we need to see signs for that. Potentially we already have something here. I'm still looking this as a potential impulse, pullback, and a continuation. So we will see what will happen. I'm still kind of sitting on my hands, looking what will be the best thing or a best place where to be involved on a longer term. But clearly, as I said, as you see on the total crypto market cap and Bitcoin, market is holding this level. People are unwilling to sell, so that's a good sign for a continuation, in my opinion. I see there is a request for Polkadot. So Polkadot also will look as a rather pretty bullish development. Let me just fix this slowly, because it was moved. I don't know how. So also the same thing. So Polkadot has a pretty sizable impulse move here. I look this as a leading diagonal. So as you can look at here, from the higher time frame, after this huge move to the downside, we have a nice move in a 5 waves up, in a wave 1 or A. I usually put this because equality is one of the measurements I look. Then we have a nice ABC on the downside, flat, and then we have an impulsive move 1 and a pullback in 2, and we are already trading above this trend line, which is a good sign. If I go on a smaller time frame, sorry about sometimes multi-wave do messes up with some of the labels. I didn't check that before we start, but we are trading already impulsively above this correction, which is, I think, a good sign. So 1, 2, up in 3, maybe a little bit consolidation, maybe one more small push on the upside, then maybe a test of these levels, and then if this starts to further continue upside, we will have a confirmation that actually we are looking for something bigger on the upside, because after this 5-wave move, we had a pretty sideways, a kind of a 45 degrees angle, which is usually corrections. When you have this vertical move, which is usually wave 3, so all of these patterns has their character and their angle. So if you know a little bit about this, you can basically kind of measure and establish a relatively nice thinking what market is actually expecting. So when you see this choppy, sloppy 45% degree angle of a correction and then an impulsive movement on the upside, you have to stay pretty much bullish on it. And that is how I usually, among other things, and there are many things which goes in this analysis, I usually measure one of the things, I measure the sentiment, basically how the market feels and what actually market thinks about one of these pairs. So among other pairs, we also look Matic, Binance Coin, almost, I don't know, 50 cryptos. So if you're interested for our guidance, you can find us at tradinganalysis.com. We have a relatively nice group of crypto members. We have members webinars, chart requests on Discord, and many other things. So if you want to check us out, you can have a trial at tradinganalysis.com. So let me look your requests and comments. Daily is saying hello from Spain. Hola, hello, how are you? Can you chart Solana, please? Yeah, okay, we will look Solana. Zeus is saying, hi Alex, do you think we will see a new all-time high in alts? Possibly, yes. I don't know if they're going to go on a new all-time high. We are pretty far from it. I don't know if they're going to succeed to go there. So if we look, for example, Polkadot, a new high is above 55. Are we going to expand up to that? Maybe. I mean, I need to see signs. So I need this to see a further developments, a further smaller pullbacks, further verticality on the upside. And yeah, in that case, of course, I will be very much. But I think we will at least climb to 8, 11, and then we will see. So I take it step as a step, step by step. I don't want to sound too optimistic. I think this crazy optimism has damaged crypto community very much in this last couple of years, and I've been very vocal in these crypto labs about various YouTube channels and all of the other kind of mooning comments about the cryptos. That's why I try to look this more objectively, more calmly, and more subdued in a sense. So I don't want to spread a false optimism. I like to back that up with some solid fundamentals, solid macro overlook and liquidity picture, paired with a couple of technical tools that we use. And when all of this aligns, then yes, of course, I can say a little bit there is a more optimistic picture. I don't think we are there yet, but there is definitely signs with the Fed kind of maybe going another 25 basis points and then pause. Economy doesn't look that bad in US. We had also these banking failures. Market is still a little bit frightened about that, but as you can see, Nasdaq and S&P goes higher. And we will see what will happen. So I don't think we are still out of the woods, but definitely signs are telling us to prepare. Okay. Okay, so let me see another comment. Schnitzel is saying on Serbian, greeting Aco. Okay, fine. I'm here, of course, as always. Zulk Boy, hello Alex, what do you think about the DGB BTC? I don't know, I didn't look that. I don't know what is DGB. Let me try to find this pair if I have it here on Binance. DGB BTC. Nope, we don't have that here. So okay, so we can go to TradingView and try to look. So let me see if we see that there. Okay, so let me switch here. DGB BTC. Calculated by TradingView. Whoa, what is this? Yeah, I don't see much of a support here in this chart. So this, except this portion, is moving pretty most of the time lower. Yeah, so possibly we're going to continue lower. So you need to see 5 waves up and a pullback for some either sizable correction or a new uptrend. So for now we don't see that. This is a 1, 2, some type of a wave 3, A, B, C, D, and E, some triangle in 4, and then maybe we are close to wave 5, but it's still going to continue to the downside. So I think this chart is still not ready to reverse. Let me just angular this so you can see it. So in my opinion, if we count this in some type of an impulsive manner, maybe this is a 4th wave triangle, and we still need to see some type of a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I look for a little bit lower levels from where maybe you can experience some type of a pullback for now. We already looked Polkadot. Oleg, good afternoon, dear Alex. What will be the turning point to change from bullish to bearish scenario in S&P? There is a good support. Yeah, this is still early, so we don't have a case for either. In my opinion, we are tilted slowly to the bullish side because of the macro backdrop. In this, it's a slippery slope with this macro backdrop, but for now, a kind of a thesis that Fed is going to stop raising and that we are going to see inflation moving lower. So CPI very important. So if CPI drops, of course, central banks will slow down in their rates on the upside. So for now, economy can handle these rates, except in certain cases. If we see these cases appears more and more in banking sector, which means they are unhedged on the upper side of the interest rate move. So we will see. It's a slippery slope, but for now we do include this macro overlook on a kind of a positive side for risk on assets, and chart patterns are for now going into that direction. So let's see. Yeah, bearish case is still not active. It's still very possible, but it doesn't show us the impulsive movement to the downside, which will turn us bearish completely. So we are kind of in a no man's land with a certain signs to be more bullishly biased. I will phrase that. That will be our stance currently. Ashlesh, hi Alex, can you please check Syscoin? Yeah, let's look that. I always like to look new coins. I don't think I ever looked this one. Probably is this one, yeah. So let's see what we have here. Whoa, a kind of a very clear picture in my opinion. So I don't know if this is going to turn bullish, but from the upper levels we do have a nice 5-wave development. So pretty very clear. So we have a expanding leading diagonal here in a wave 1, as you can see here. So wave 1 is short, up in 2, down in 3, which is a longer than wave 1, then a small pullback entering the territory of the wave 1, or the wave low of the wave 1, which is the territory of the wave 2, and then we have a sharp move on the downside, which qualifies this as an expanding pattern, because the wave 5 is longer than wave 3 and wave 3 is longer than wave 1. So this is one of the leading diagonals which are of an expanding variety. We have contracting and expanding one, and both of them has their rules within this relation of the waves inside. A nice pullback in a wave 2, very sharp directional move in 5 waves in the wave 3, so that's very easy to see. So 1, 2, and that is what I was talking before. So this is 5 waves. I will label this in a different color so that is easier for you to discern. So same thing, we have here a lesser and higher degree wave 2, so very important thing to know. So this wave 2 in magnitude of price and time was much bigger than the subsequent this wave 2. Okay, so this is very important to understand. So larger primary waves should have a bigger corrections than a smaller actionary waves. Both of them are impulsive. This one is corrective, this one is impulsive, but overall this is the impulsive sequence. But if you see the magnitude of this one, that was a very small affair. This wave 4 was very small affair compared to this, okay? And this wave 2 was a big time and price compared to this one. So wave 3s are vertical and corrections are kind of a 45 degrees. So very important notions about if you look markets from the Elliott Wave stance. Okay, so after that we have a nice impulsive development on the upside. Is this correction is done? Maybe you need to see a continuation. So usually in this type of situations, I don't go crazy looking for new highs. I just go an ABC, and this, if this prolongs higher, then I will turn this into 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So one trick to do here, let's presume this was a low, pretty nice 0.618% retracement. So let's kind of say that potentially, so corrections tend to stay in parallel channels. So 5 waves up, maybe some type of a flat in a pullback, 1, 2, and maybe we can see this higher. If this drops lower, you should look some around these levels here. And then for a potential reversal. So I think this one will at least do an ABC on the upside. And then if this surpasses these technical levels, we might see a continuation further higher. So relatively simple picture here with this one. Check the USD chart. This is half. Yeah, I mean, it is not important that it is half because it shows us where we are. Okay, so in any case we have. So let me just see the timing. So this is the August of 2020. So this is even smaller, I think. So this one goes far back. So let me try this. US dollar, okay. Yeah, but the same picture. We looked at some instances. I see I have it, and I also put that from here on this trend line. We might continue further on the upside. So 5 waves up, a pullback. What is this? Is this a leading diagonal? Hardly, because it doesn't follow the rules. But in any case, I mean, this trend line is strong to at least secure an ABC pullback, and then from there we will see. Okay, so for now I think this is enough because this is not very small movement. So 5 waves up, pullback, maybe we will touch this line again or not. So this is something you should watch. And we need to get up going higher here. So equality is, I think, most likely scenario here, and then we will see afterwards. So you go step by step. Okay, guys, so let's see what the Bitcoin is actually currently doing. Let me look, 0.11% lower today, not much. Let me just check the smaller time frame. So what do we have here? We have a small of a move lower. Market has opened, so maybe we are in some type of wave 4. So wave count invalidation here is around these levels, around 27,400. If this continues lower, that will most likely be a part of all of this correction that I explained. If we see a new high, then this will change a picture about the Bitcoin. So thank you guys on the attention. Click the like button, subscribe if you like. That will help our content to be more visible on the YouTube. And if we don't see you at Trading Analysis, see you next Thursday on the Crypto Lab. So stay well and trade well. Bye bye, guys.